Howdy, welcome to Junk Monkey Live Season 3, Episode 1. That's right, 3 seasons already. It's kind of crazy. And here's how I do those seasons I do them by quarter. We're resellers, we do everything by quarter. So that's how I'm going to run the seasons on the show. Tonight, I have got to turn off my other screen. I do that every week. Anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about a little update. I mentioned it last week, but never got around to talking about it. We're going to I'm going to show you some stuff I picked up today. And we have a special guest with us tonight. We have Sarah from the Daily Cabbage. You guys might know her from the Pittsburgh Picker live shows on Sunday nights and Thursday nights. And you may also know her from the Daily Cabbage on Instagram. So we're going to bring her on right now. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. And
Good.
you know, it wasn't that long ago you were trying to get your Instagram page, the Daily Cabbage, up to
Mm-hmm.
3,000. You're well
Mm-hmm.
over 4,500 now, well on your way to 5,000.
Yep. Yep.
So
I'm trying. I'm trying. It just seems like the 5,000
you're
is
doing more than
harder to
trying, you're
obtain.
achieving. Let's
Yes,
see.
I'm close. I'm close. So we'll see.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know about the Daily Cabbage yet, I am going to drop the link for you as soon as I can figure out what I'm doing with these computers.
That's like me.
There we go.
I'm like always not knowing what I'm doing with computers.
You know, as many years as I've been around computers, I run a really huge group on Facebook back in the day
Hmm.
and ran it for 14 years. And it was the biggest and the first of its kind, and ran it for years and posted videos over there. And you'd think I'd know how to work my way around a computer, but I'm tech tarded. I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, Adam, how are you? Ping, Christopher, good to see you guys here. We'll get a few more people in here and we'll start talking about the one topic we have tonight. Let's see. How many do we have in here so far? Just 6. Hey, if you guys
Did
don't mind, do me a favor and give me some of them thumbs up.
Yeah, hit the
Hey,
thumbs
Mark
up.
is in here. How are you?
Yes, I did fire at him actually. No, he's using the computer that I usually use in the other room, and I have like Cabbage Patch everywhere. So he's using it for postcards right now. So, and the
uh,
scanner's hooked up to it. So I'm
so
using
he
this
set the
other one.
scanner up in your room.
Well, it's actually in the living room. He has like a rolling desk, so he can work from the couch.
Okay. Hey, anybody starts talking about spanking me being a monkey, I'm out. Pun intended.
That's funny.
Uh, Speaking of Cabbage Patch, now you've already seen this because I sent you pictures of it when I
Hmm.
found her. But there
Oh
she is.
yeah, yeah,
She's
that's a
got the
good
little
one.
jumpsuit on, the little bib
Hmm.
overalls. And she came with a little hoodie jacket that's
Oh
branded
yeah, yeah. That's a good outfit. That's the designer line outfit.
designer line outfit. So that's something everybody should be looking out for. Now,
Yep.
there's something about this one that's a little different than the other ones that I have found and sent you pictures of. She's got a bald spot.
Yeah, a lot of them have that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, this bottom line of hair that they stitched in,
Uh huh.
they stitched it into the top line of the information stamps on the back of her head.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot.
I can make out 1978 and I think it's 1980 something.
Yeah, it's probably 1978, 1982 because they all say
Yeah.
that on the back because those are
Okay.
like the original copyright years.
Yeah. And she does not have a head mold stamp that
Yeah, I that one actually. Does her face look like? Does she have one dimple?
well, her face is really dirty, but she has a little dimple in her chin. Like,
Oh, she doesn't have one on the side like this one. I was
no,
wondering if that was the same. Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah, just a little
Yeah,
dimple in her chin, but no dimples on her cheeks.
yeah, that's definitely a designer line.
Cool.
One. Yeah, I mean with that outfit, if you cleaned that up, like you
Yeah.
probably would get like probably $50 for it, just because the outfit's really desirable and it's like it's a good looking like head mold too. It's not like one of the more popular ones, but like the clothing
Right.
really will add value to that one because those outfits are really desirable.
Well, she's got a bath coming her way. And I said she doesn't have a head mold number, but there's a long, thin. I don't know if we can get the camera to pick it up, but
Yeah, that's like the factory code or something.
okay.
The
Yeah, it
head
says,
mold is usually just separate. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a 3 or something around down at the bottom centered up.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
doesn't have that. Oh, yeah, you need to make us some videos on how to refurbish
I know everyone
your.
says that. I just don't want to make videos.
I know, but you got right at 5,000 and growing followers
Yeah.
already on Instagram. If you added videos to that, I mean, uh,
Yeah.
even the majority of them could be shorts.
Yeah, that's what when I went to see when we went to visit Kevin and I made the video, he was like that's what you should do is just do short ones. And you
Yeah,
don't
you
even I
could
you
do those
know.
little short videos and then just cross post them across the different platforms.
Yeah.
And then just occasionally do like a how to clean their hair or redo their hair,
Yeah.
how to clean the. I know I've heard you talk about how to get marker off of their faces.
Mhm.
And you come up with something I'd never heard of before. It was an acne medicine.
Mhm. Yep, and then put it in the sun. Sometimes it takes a while to fade, but it will come off eventually.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tina. Hey, Kristen.
Oh, my friend Alyssa's in here too.
Well, hello, Alyssa. How are you? I've got this thing set where you have to be a member for 5 minutes before you can chat. So
Okay.
let's see. Diaper rash. Who has got diaper rash? Oh, on the. They went at him. There was an Adam sighting.
Yep. He's on the move.
Yeah. But last week I brought up a change or an update, and it had to do with the.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey, there we go.
He just brought me. This is one that I've been treating with the acne medication.
Cool.
He just brought me this head. Actually, this one looks like it's pretty much faded. So.
Now, from what I gather, this stuff has hydrogen peroxide in it, right?
Yeah, benzoyl peroxide.
Well, yeah, it's got a
Yeah.
peroxide,
Yeah, and
and it works
that's.
best if you set them in sunlight.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. In other worlds, like video consoles and other plastic toys and things, they call that retrobriding.
Oh yeah. I've heard of that. Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy on there. I will have to find him and send you the links. But you can actually take and build a plastic tub
Mm-hmm.
with UV sunlight LED
Mm-hmm.
strips on it and stuff.
Yep.
And you put hydrogen peroxide in the
Mm-hmm.
tank, and you turn on the UV lights,
Yeah.
and it will do that much faster for you.
Oh yeah, because I have ones that like they've been sitting for months.
Right?
Yeah. So this one I think is probably okay. I have to put it, and you just zip tie the head. It goes. There's a zip tie, and it just goes back on the body. So. Here's my little cabby head.
I recently tried my hand at. Thanks, Swamp Picker. I recently tried my hand at cleaning one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I forgot about her and left her soaking for several days.
Yeah,
And she still didn't come clean.
yeah, it's like it depends. I'm most of them I'm able to get like really clean, but I have one down there sitting right now that I hope will get clean, but I don't know.
Yeah, I listed her. I think I have her listed for 20. I'll grab her right quick off the shelf.
Okie dokie. He's gone. It's the Sarah show now.
and her hair was very, very, very frizzed out. And I
Yeah.
took some time and trimmed the frizz off as much as
Hmm.
I could, or enough to make her look a little better. And there she is.
Oh. Yeah, she looks pretty good actually. Cabby wave. Yeah, she looks pretty good.
Well, she's got some stains and so a little bit of peeling, and my
Yeah.
fabric shaver is kind of wore out, but
Yeah, the fabric shaver like will get the pilling like pretty good if you have like one that has pretty sharp blades.
yeah. I went on either Amazon or eBay and bought the absolute cheapest one I could find. So
That's what I did, and mine works pretty good.
yeah, well, I've been using it for 2.5 years, so it might be time
Yeah.
to get a
That
new one.
that hair color they call that lemon. That
Lemon,
bright
yeah.
yellow.
I've
Hmm.
seen that in your Instagram
Yeah.
posts.
Yep.
And I got her clean, and we're out here in my old dirty garage, so I keep her in a plastic bag.
Nice.
Yeah, Adam, I did a cabbie wave, but I didn't steal your catchphrase with it. Although I did use that when I sent you guys a positive feedback on something I bought from you. By the way, Adam, I have a bone to pick with you. Not really. It's a good thing that I bought this lot of Dragon Ball Z VHS tapes from you.
I forgot that you bought those.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
yeah. Two of them have busted
Well,
parts.
we'll refund you your money.
No, no, I got a
Adam,
great deal.
refund the man.
No, it's something I've been wanting to try anyway. There are screws in these things, and it's probably just some little plastic nothing in there. But what I want to do is try my hand at taking it apart, pull those little pieces out, put it back together, and see if it works.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think those were returned to us. Well, not returned,
No,
but
no, I won't.
no. I mean, they were returned to us previously, but not because
Oh,
of that. Not because of that. They never picked them up from their mailbox or whatever.
oh,
It was
cool.
one of those type of things.
I've had that happen once,
Yeah.
and in fact, I had it happen on a GSP order I sent out, and it's like I don't know, 4 or 5 months later, this thing, this beat
Mhm.
up box shows up. I'm like, what in the world is this? And I don't even remember what it was, honestly.
Yeah, we've had it happen a couple of times. No one, they've never, people don't say anything though. Like,
Yeah, I try to keep track of my outgoing, and anything that doesn't show up as delivered, I try to keep track of that and contact the buyer and ask them, is
mhm,
everything okay? But apparently that one got away from me. I had a guy
yeah.
one time bought a watch, a nice watch, an old pocket watch. I think he paid $165 for it.
Wow.
And 3 months later, I'm scrolling through and I see that it's never been delivered. So I contacted him, like, yeah, I never got it, forgot about it. So I had to put in one of those USPS, where's my package reports.
Mhm.
Eventually got it. No, Adam, I would not do that. I just brought it up because if you guys find like vintage VHS, there's a couple of things you need to look out for. The number one thing that you look out for is like mold or like
Mhm.
spotting, sputsy,
Yeah.
smut looking stuff inside where the tape is at. If you see that, just go ahead and put it back. It doesn't matter how rare it is, you can't
Yeah.
sell it. But give everything. I give everything the shake test,
Mm.
which I should
That's
have
good
done
to
with all
know.
the items I found today.
Yeah, we don't really sell a lot of VHS, but if we do
I don't
ever
sell a
get more.
lot of it, but I do. I
Yeah.
probably sell, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them a month. And
Mhm.
I literally just took a truckload of stuff to the dump, and there were probably close to 500 or 600 VHS tapes in there.
Oh my god.
Well, my local Goodwills, there's only one left that still sells them,
Mhm.
but they're 10 for $1.
Oh my god.
If you buy one, it's $1. If you buy three, it's $1. It's 10
That's
for
crazy.
$1. You get charged at least $1. So I would just grab them all because I'm like, you're not getting my $1 for three. I'm going to get my 10. And next thing I know, I'm paying 20 to haul them to the dump.
That's crazy.
Real quick, let's get that update. They on promoted ads,
Mm-hmm.
eBay now has a thing called, and it's still in beta, and they're trying to get me to sign up for it, but I don't like it. What it is, they call it dynamic promotions.
Oh.
Whereas what they do if you sign up for it, they're going to give you a little credit for signing up for it for like $50 or something. I
Mm-hmm.
think is what they told me they offered me. But what they do is it gives them permission to use a sliding rule on how much the percentage is that
Mm-hmm.
they charge you. For instance, if the going ad rate is 4% and it goes up to 8%, well, they
Mm-hmm.
just doubled what they're going to charge.
Yeah.
But the way they promote it is if it drops to if it was 4%, but it drops down and everybody's doing 2.1%, we're only going to charge you 2.1%. How
Huh.
often is that going to happen?
Yeah.
I'm
I think
not.
I may have seen something about that, but I didn't really pay attention that much.
Yeah, I brought it up last week, and I didn't never finish talking about it because it kind of disappeared, but
Yeah.
then it came back, and I don't know. It's one of those things they're working on that they're trying to make more money for themselves, and they still haven't fixed the prepay for automatic pay for
Right.
offers.
Yeah, it
It
is
drives me
really
insane.
ridiculous. Yeah, it is ridiculous. For sure. Some people say they don't care about it. They just like it doesn't
Well,
bother them when they don't pay. I'm like, well, it bothers us because this is like our income. So.
and here's another thing: is there are people out there like I sell high end wristwatches. I've got two Rolexes up right now.
Hmm.
If one of my competitors comes up with a Tiffany dialed Rolex, they could create a new account,
Hmm.
send out a generous offer on my watch, and then not pay for it. And so for 4, maybe 5 days, my watch is off the market. They put
Right.
theirs on the
Yep.
market and they get theirs sold, and I'm left
Yep.
holding the bag.
Yep.
So they really need to do something about that.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
The pay per click thing. I didn't sign up for that one either.
Oh yeah, I remember that Adam telling me about that one.
Yeah, that pay per click thing. No, I was like, no, I'm not paying y'all extra every time. I'm not every time just because if you're on YouTube and you mention something like I just mentioned I've got a Tiffany dialed Rolex. Well, now everybody goes to my link tree, looks up that thing, and I get 500 people.
Right.
Well, 13 people go look at it. I get charged for 13 clicks. I'm like, no. But hey, Kathy, how are you? I assume that's Kathy because Chris is usually busy on Wednesday nights. We're going to have Kathy on here one of these nights. I know she's got the kiddos by herself for the majority of Wednesday nights, so we'll have to see. But the other thing we were going to talk about, man, I had to take my dog to the groom to get
Hmm.
groomed today,
Hmm.
and it's only like a mile from my number one thrifting Goodwill,
Hmm.
which is where I sent you pictures of the
Oh
cabbie from
yeah.
today.
Hmm.
But I went in there and it's not my normal time. I was in there noonish. I'm normally there at 3 p.m.
Hmm.
or a little later. And man, I don't know what they were doing, but they were bringing the electronics out left and right. I had three um, VHS players. One VCR and two VCR DVD combos,
Hmm.
and they just kept bringing more and more electronics out. I was able to pre-test the VHS players, and it left two of them behind.
Hmm.
Hey Scott, how are you? But I bought one, but they just kept bringing more stuff out, and every time they'd roll a new card out, there'd be more stuff for me to grab.
Wow.
And then the groomers called me. I had to go pick my puppy up and take him home. So I'm hoping tomorrow some of that stuff will still be there. But I wanted to show everybody some of the stuff I picked up today. let's see where to start.
Do you sell a lot of those VHS DVD combo players?
Oh, absolutely. That's
Oh,
one of my
really?
top three sellers.
Huh. Yeah, we used to sell those, but I don't know. We're not really into the
Well,
electronics.
I love electronics
Yeah.
because I can buy I have many times found like the DVD VCR uh, recorders, the one that
Mhm.
record the DVD.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I used to find them really regular for like $7.49. They're
Wow.
up to like $10.49 and $11.49 now. Occasionally 15 or 20, depending on somebody in the back that's doing the pricing. But yeah, Adam, I don't get returns on my VHS players because I fully test them. If they make a funny noise, if they spit the tape out, or it takes 3 times to put it back in, I just return them. I get a full 7 days to return stuff,
So
and I always just
how do you play like a whole movie through it? Like, okay.
yeah, I will. I
Yeah.
will do the. I'll put one in there, see if it plays. I've got a TV set up. It's got an HDMI cable and a RCA cables constantly hooked up to it, so I can test stuff. And yeah, I'll go through. I'll hit play. I'll hit fast forward, rewind, and eject. Make sure it doesn't hit a tape, and then I'll throw one of these tapes in and just let it play while I work in
Yeah.
here. Because most, especially if it has the auto rewind. I had one.
Mhm.
It was a really good combo player. I think it was one of the popular Magnavox ones, and they sell about $80. And the only time it would eat a tape was if you played a movie all the way through and then let it auto rewind and eject, and it would eat the tape every time
Oh
it.
God.
Yeah, so if I had listed that and sold it, it would have been a return.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. And, and it's normally when I do that, I have like these like the Dragon Ball Z tapes. They're only like 30 minutes.
Mhm.
So instead of putting a 2.5 hour Titanic movie tape in there, I put one of those 30-minute cartoon tapes in, and I'm good to go. I'd have that playing in the background while I'm working on a pair of shoes or something. But today
Yeah.
they brought out these things, and this is uh, they remodeled my store recently, the Goodwill, and they got all
Mhm.
new cash registers. This is the receipt thing that prints out the receipts.
Yeah, that's what it looks. That's what I thought it like
It's
was. It looked
exactly
like.
what it is. It's their receipts, their old receipt machines. They're not selling the cash registers. They refuse to sell me that. I'm like, where are they at? I'll buy those. And they're like, no, we can't sell those. Man, Sharp Picker's in the house. Howdy. But I bought 4 of these.
Howdy.
They brought out the first cart. There had 2 of these on it and one of the barcode scanners.
I think we sold those before, or maybe
Yeah,
not.
these are
We
like
sold something with the cash register parts before. I
like
think.
cash registers sell for good money. You just got to
Yeah.
be willing to uh, pack them up. They're heavy, and
Yeah.
that's one of the few things that I will put on the shipping, where it's oh, what's the word? I normally charge flat rate, but they where they calculated shipping.
Hmm.
But these receipt printers are $50 to $60 a piece, and these scanners are $40 to $50 a
Oh
piece.
yeah, I bet. Yeah.
So, but really and truly, I paid $7.50 a piece for these, $8.50 a piece for these, but I got a 15% discount today. So,
Oh, that's cool.
uh, and the next thing I got. This is one of the reasons I really enjoy doing electronics. I have no idea what this thing is, but it has barcode on it.
Uh huh.
So I scanned it
Yeah, I was
and I
gonna say,
opened
did
it
you
up, made
scan it?
sure it's new in the box. It's never been used. It looks like they opened it and then
Right.
closed it. I mean, everything's
Hmm.
still wrapped like it came from the factory. But this thing is pretty expensive. I don't remember the comps on it, but it was more than
Huh.
50. So I think
Oh
this was
wow.
like 70 or 80.
Yeah, maybe we should keep an eye out for that kind of stuff because we have sold things like that before, but I don't feel like they're around a lot. Like,
They're not here recently. It's been even less than I.
yeah.
Last year, I could find at least 3 to 5 VCRs every week.
Wow.
I found one out of the three that I could buy today, and it's just they've been few and far between. I've normally got 15 or 20 of them on my shelf back there, but right now I've only got two, four. I have four on the shelf right now, plus the one I bought today. Speaking of which, that's the one I bought today. It's a Toshiba, and it's probably a $60 or $70 machine.
Oh wow.
And I paid $10 for it.
Nice.
But the shake test. I should have done the shake test on that Xbox 360.
Yeah, aren't those the ones that get like the red ring of death, they call it?
Yeah, this one doesn't have that.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I keep cables for these systems, so I can hook them up and test them. This one turns on, and it brings up the parent page from the machine, but it will not read a disc. So this one gets returned, and I always, when I do returns with my local Goodwills, I just do in-store credit because I'm just going to spend it.
Yeah, you're going to use it anyhow. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I have found a lot of Wii's. They'll put the Wii consoles out for $549.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I bring them home and test them because I keep a complete, like I said, I keep cords and cables and power supplies for all these things.
Yeah.
And that way I can test them.
Yeah, that's smart.
The next thing I got is silverware. And this is a personal item. Wife told me last week that we needed new silverware, and this was on one of the new cards. So. And our silverware is 10 for $1. So there's 28 of these spoons and forks in here.
It looks like that looked like a cool pattern. What is it, like a floral pattern?
I got one that's the wrong pattern.
Oh no, you're fired.
But no, they're like flowers.
Yeah, that looks cool. Yeah.
But it's both sides, and they're heavy stainless steel. They're made
they look nice. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll eat off of them. But the last thing I found today is the best thing that I found today, and
let's see it.
I was just hanging out waiting for them to bring another cart full of these electronics out. So I'm just grabbing random crap off the shelves and looking it up and see if it's something I can buy. And I found something. And most of you people, when you see this thing, you're automatically going to think the wrong thing.
Oh, no. I got to know what it is.
They're going to think they know what it is. So I'm going to do I'm going to show you guys this thing real quick. Then in the chat, I want you guys to guess what it is. Because that's just about as quick as most resellers look at these things.
That I couldn't even tell. I'm looking at a really small monitor. So
yeah, all right, I'm going to flash it up there again real quick. And let's see if anybody in the chat can guess what that is.
Is it like an extension, like to grind meat or something? Like
that's what most people are going to believe it is.
Okay, but it's not.
It is not. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? Nope, Adam, it is not a meat grinder. See, everybody thinks it's a meat grinder.
Everyone's saying meat grinder.
These things are as bad as the shake weights and the praying hands at Goodwills. Those meat grinders are.
Really?
There is at least one in every Goodwill in America, and nobody buys them.
Everyone thinks it's a meat grinder.
Sell, and if you ever had to hand crank one of them damn things for 6 hours, you'd know why they don't sell. No, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a meat grinder. This is a mill for making your own flour.
Ah.
It's a grain mill.
Okay.
And this one has all its attachments, the extra grinding stones.
Who wants to make their own flour? What is this, 1800s?
Well, there's a lot of people doing it for various reasons. The breads you buy in the stores have a lot of stuff added to
Oh
it. It's
yeah.
bad for you. And so people started grinding. And this is not the first grain mill that I found, but it's the first one I ever found that looked like a meat grinder.
Yeah, it did. It does.
The
Is
only
it?
reason I took it down off the shelf to give I couldn't see inside the box. And I saw this thing and I'm like, I've never seen that in a meat grinder before. And I looked a little closer. I'm like, that's not a meat grinder. And I saw the flat face stone. I'm like, that's a grain mill. So I looked it up.
Hmm. And do they sell well?
Yes.
Well, that's
I
good.
found electric ones and some very expensive ones. This one should bring around $125.
Oh wow. Yeah, it looks like it's like really good quality.
It's heavy.
Yeah,
The
it
shipping
definitely
on it's probably
looks.
going to be around $20.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to make their own flour?
Scott, why don't you come on over? I'll buy a bag of corn and we'll let you make 5 pounds of cornmeal. I guarantee you won't make it to 3 pounds without changing your mind. I grew up very rural East Texas, and
Yeah.
we had 10 acres of farm field where we grew all our own vegetables. We always had livestock and chickens and ducks and geese and
Hmm.
guineas. I've done a lot of this kind of work, and my grandparents survived the Great Depression, so we didn't have new
Yeah.
fancy tools. We had the stuff that they worked with for decades. You know what, Scott? I've always wanted to try mesquite flower.
What? How do? What? How do you? What do you do with that? Is it like smoked or something?
But mesquite is a tree that grows pretty much in Texas, along the
Oh.
Gulf Coast plains, and the wood is used in smoking as an accent flavor for Texas
Okay.
barbecue, and it's really, really good.
Yeah,
But
I
then
know
again,
like
there are
mesquite flavoring. I didn't know it was a tree.
yeah, it's an actual tree, and it makes what looks like beans. It's a long, thin bean with. It
Oh
looks
wow.
sort of like it's got multiple little seeds in there, and you can take the seeds out and grind it into a flour.
Nice.
I've never tried it, but I'd be willing to. In East Texas, we don't have as much mesquite. We have hickory, so that's what we use to smoke meat in East Texas. Adam, I'll challenge you the same way. I'll let you grind up
Oh
five
yeah,
pounds of
I don't
corn.
think Adam's gonna be grinding flour. That just seems crazy.
You know, this thrifting thing, you never know what you're going to run into
True.
and when and where. And that's one of the reasons I don't niche down. If I was a niche watch dealer for 20 years,
Hmm.
and then when I stumbled on, purely by accident, stumbled on this reselling thing that most of us now do, I got addicted pretty quick. My wife still can't believe some of the stuff that I sell.
Yeah, it is crazy what people buy. Really.
I never would have thought people would buy old used tennis shoes online. And it's
Right.
one of my
Right.
top 5 sellers when I can get them.
Yeah, my mom is always just like shocked when people buy the photos and negatives and slides because we've sold a bunch of negatives in the past couple weeks and a bunch of slides. And my mom's always like, "That's just crazy. What do people do with them?" And the one guy just researches families. Like he doesn't even know the families. He just researches them.
Huh.
It's like his hobby.
How does it, you have to have some provenance with the pictures to even start down that
Yeah, if they're like
rabbit hole.
labeled on the back, like with the
Yeah.
family names and things, then he'll buy them. And yeah.
20 something years ago, I was over at my grandparents' place and they were both in the nursing home. And everybody in the family had already gone through the house and was taking things. And I went out to one of the old feed sheds to see if some of my old steel traps and tools and stuff were still out there. And somebody had taken all, my grandmother kept all the family photos in these big wooden cheese boxes.
Mhm.
That's just where she stored all that stuff.
Yeah.
and somebody had taken them out there and just threw them into the feed shed,
Oh
which
my
only it
god.
didn't have a real door. It just had an old piece of tarp
Mm-hmm.
hanging across it. And yeah, all those pictures got ruined. I think I salvaged
Huh.
maybe 15 or 20 out of the
Yeah,
two
that's
big boxes.
sad. We
All right, Scott.
actually,
Well, I'm glad you stopped by tonight. Maybe we'll get you on here one night. Hit me up on Instagram and we'll set up a date for you. But that's what's been going on in my world in the last week
that's
since the
cool.
last time I was here. Just we go out to these thrift stores, and I can't tell you how many dry runs I make. Variety
Yeah.
Flippers here. Sold a pair of fireman police type boots. Yeah, new with tags,
Wow.
$275 plus shipping. That was a good sell. How in the world do who else but a reseller would even find those?
I know, right?
I, Now, I got into all this stuff by accident. Like I said, I was niched down to nothing. I sold antique, vintage, and luxury pocket watches and wrist watches for 20
Uh-huh.
something years. And I didn't do it all the time. I didn't even have a store. I just once a month. Sometimes I'd go several weeks in a row. Whatever I could get ready on my workbench, I would put up on auction only. I didn't do buy
Yeah.
it now because back in those days, if you didn't have a store, they would actually charge you extra to list it as a buy it now. So I
Yeah, I
never
think
did the
I
buy it now.
yeah, I think I remember this.
So for years, that's all I did. And then I came up with this idea that I would make watch bands to match dress shoes
Oh, that's cool.
and a belt because I do a little leather work or here and there throughout my life. I've done a little bit of leather work. I don't do all the tooling and the carving and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I can make a belt or a wristband or useful things. But I came up with this idea that I would match, uh, and it wasn't really a good idea. But I went down the rabbit hole researching how to make the watch straps and looking at the old shoes because vintage shoes, vintage dress shoes, and cowboy boots and things like that. I was pretty interested in, and YouTube started the algorithm started showing me eBay reseller shoe videos, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no way nobody's buying them old tennis shoes and spending that kind of money on it. And the next time I went in a thrift store, I found a pair of Red Wing work boots that were almost like new. I think I paid $15 for them, brought them home. Everybody else has got them listed for $100. I listed mine for 50 and sold them in an hour.
Yeah.
And then I started watching more of these videos. And the next thing I know, I'm a full time reseller and a part time
Yeah.
watchmaker. Hey, Cameron's here. How are you tonight, buddy?
Hi, Cameron.
I'm gonna go through this see if I've how much I've missed on this chat. By talking to one another, yeah. Make sure nobody's asking me questions that I skipped over.
So that's the
Got
same like thrift
got
store you
them.
go to every week?
Well, I've got three Goodwills local to me. One of them very local, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a few blocks from where my watch repair shop is. So every
Mm-hmm.
day at 3, when I shut down the watch bench, I'll run down there and see what I can find.
Oh, okay. So you
I
go every
also have,
day.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
Well, every day, Tuesday through Friday
yeah.
at 3 o'clock, I'll go. But my bins are 10 minutes away or less.
Oh, that's
Um,
close.
yeah. And more recently, I don't know if they've got a new TV show out or something about thrifting, but holy smokes, our bins are small. We only got two
Yeah.
rows of bins. Then they line up the clothing bins against the back wall.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never seen that many people in there. Last time I went, I was like, I can't deal with this, and I left.
Yeah.
But I've
Yeah,
got
for
two other towns.
us.
Hmm?
Yeah, it all depends on like I feel like it depends on the day. Like the weekends, I don't even go to
Oh
our
no, I
bins on
don't.
the weekends because
I
it's
yeah.
like crazy.
If I'm
It's
already
crazy
out and
there.
about, I'll poke my head in a few places just to look
Yeah.
around real quick. But yeah, I don't normally go on the weekends. I spend testing, cleaning, and drafting and listing.
Yeah.
But when I go to the bins, I normally go on Mondays because my watch shop is not open on a Monday,
Oh,
and it's
okay.
not the weekend. So who goes to the
Yeah.
bins on a Monday? But this time around, good Lord, that place was packed. And
Yeah.
kids, I'd never seen so many kids at one time in there. You know what? I think it was still spring break. That may have been why there were so many people
Uh,
there. But I'll go
yeah.
again this Monday and then see if it's calmed down any.
Yeah, I was there. I was at ours like a month ago. I don't know. I was thinking about going back, but I just never do.
Yeah,
I just don't have the patience. I don't feel like.
I used to get a lot of my VCRs from there, but they
Yeah.
turned off all of the outlets. No, you can't test anything,
Oh.
and there's no returns when you buy something at the bins. And
Yeah.
electronics at my bins are only 59 cents a pound, but a VCR is £8. So you're 4 or 5 bucks
Yeah.
in, and if you
Right.
can't at least shove a tape in it to see if it's going to eat the tape or not, or make weird noises, it's just not worth the gamble to me.
Yeah.
Because you know, 2 out of 3 today didn't pass in-store testing. So
Yeah.
if I'd have bought those at the bins, that would have been
Yeah.
$10 or $11 and just gone. No way to recoup it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like our outlets you can still plug in, I think.
Well, they stopped it at mine because it kept overloading circuits and setting stuff on fire. And
Oh god.
yeah, I mean, but those outlets were pretty janky looking. They were half melted.
I know
Like people are,
there's one at like the thrift store by us that looks real. It's like all taped together and it looks melted too. I'm
it's
like,
like,
this is not good.
yeah, this is not safe. But you'd think they would set up a test bench and put like a power strip on it that would trip the power switch
Yes.
before. It
Yes.
wouldn't
Yes.
cost them that much to do something like that.
Yeah. Really.
And I've seen in videos like who was it? The Ohio picker, pro picker,
Mhm.
Dustin, the pro picker. One of the ones he goes to, they have a test bench set up with like some kind of little
Yeah.
power strip or
I
something
mean
for
that just makes
these things.
sense. I mean,
Well, I mean, it does. You got old broken electronics that somebody donated.
yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of times, there's a good reason they donate it because anymore to go to the dump is no longer free. My local dump, I think, is $26 or $27
Hmm.
for. It doesn't matter if it's one bag or a truckload. It's twenty six
Yeah.
dollars and change.
And do they have like a limitation of what you can take there? Like, do
Yeah,
they tell you no TVs or whatever?
yeah. Well, they have a e-waste thing where you can
Uh,
just donate it for free,
yeah.
and they have
Okay.
a place for cardboard that you can get rid of for free, and
Okay.
I don't know what else, but used motor oil, you can set that over there for free.
Oh, huh. I wouldn't even know where one of those places are around here, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Well, I generate a lot of trash with my reselling business. There's,
Yeah.
cleaning supply rags and stuff that doesn't
Yeah.
test out that I can't return
Yeah.
but I probably, I should go once a month, but I go every other month at the very least and
Hmm.
haul a load of crap off.
Yeah. Well, that's a good habit to get into because, I mean, all that stuff piles up.
It does. And when
Yeah.
things get piled up, it's not just piled up in your work area. That's a weight on your shoulders,
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
and it
Definitely.
makes you not want to work. It doesn't you get
Yeah.
overwhelmed pretty easily. I
Yes.
do, and I know other people do.
Oh,
You get
yeah. I definitely
when you
do.
get surrounded by a death pile
Yeah.
of mediocre to low end crap that you
Yeah.
just don't want to put the work into, and it
Yeah.
builds up and it builds up, and it's just like a big weight on your shoulders.
Yes.
And quite honestly, the best thing in the world to do, throw all that crap in the back of a truck and haul it off
Yeah.
and throw it away because it was
Oh,
headed
yeah.
there to begin with.
Yeah. I agree. I can't. Yeah. I can't stand working in like That's what we just don't do death piles. But now we're kind of like, since we don't do death piles and our garage sales are just like going to be starting back up again, our thrift stores aren't that great. But we do a
Yeah.
lot of like high bid and online auctions and stuff
Right.
like that. But we're
And
like,
sometimes, especially with high bid and yard sales and estate sales, sometimes you end up having to buy a whole box of crap to get one or two things in it.
right. Yeah, well,
And
I lucked out yesterday. There was a high bid auction in Indiana, which is, it's not far from us. It's
Mhm.
only a state away.
Right.
Um, and they were having a Cabbage Patch auction, and that with a lot of those high bid auctions, they'll add like a handling charge onto their shipping, but these
Right.
people were like, we're not adding any handling, we're gonna ship the cheapest way possible. And I'm like, well, Indiana isn't that far.
Right.
I ended up getting 70 Cabbage Patch
Ooh.
dolls for $100 plus shipping.
And how much was the shipping?
I haven't gotten the shipping yet, but I'm
Damn boy.
assuming it's probably going to be less than $50.
Yeah.
So that's like $2 a doll.
Right.
And they all look in pretty decent shape. Now some of them, like, some of their like faces and stuff didn't look good, but I need a body for this head. So like, so some of them I'll like Franken Cabby, as I call it. And I always disclose that in the listings,
Right.
that like they're from
Hey,
the
the
head
same
and the
thing
body.
happens in a lot of collectible, especially watches. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many watches I handle that have parts and pieces on them that don't belong on them. I've
Mhm.
got one right here. I'll show you. I don't know if you saw the Instagram picture of it, but this lady's Rolex that I listed the other day.
Maybe I saw it today. You sold a clock, right?
Yeah, that was the clock that I made the short or the reel, the Instagram
Mhm.
reel about, telling people don't buy the damn things. Yeah, and it's one of those things. I said this is a case of do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
But I am a watchmaker and I work in a watch and clock repair shop.
Mhm.
So if there was some minor little thing wrong with it, I could have possibly gotten it fixed. I only paid $10 for the thing, but I sold it
Nice.
today for 135.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew it was over 100.
Yeah. I haven't figured out how to get a picture that I like that shows the offer that I took. So I had it listed for 150. I sold it for 135, and
Mhm.
I've got to figure out a way to do that because people can easily go look it up and they're like, "Oh, he didn't get that much for it. He took an offer on it for less money." Well, yeah, of course I did. And if I knew how to take a picture of it with my phone, get off of me. Thing stuck to me. But anyway, this is the watch I was talking about. It has a diamond dial on it. And the diamonds are very, very nice. It doesn't show up on this computer screen very well, but they are.
I mean, it looks like a nice watch, even.
It is a
without
very
that.
nice watch. And if that was genuine Rolex dial, it is a genuine dial, but somebody has modified it and added those diamonds to it. They're not Rolex markers with the diamonds. So I have to disclose that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have it listed for $4,000. If it was a genuine Rolex diamond dial, I'd have it listed at $6,000.
Wow.
But yeah, that you see that in the watch world all the time, especially
Yeah.
Rolex. People will get aftermarket stuff, or they'll get parts and pieces from another watch and put on it, and it's one of those things where like pocket watches are bad about the cases wearing out, and people will just rob a case off of something else.
Yeah.
Because they're all similar sizes. They're different. You had watchmakers back in those days, and you had case makers. And in order for that to work, you had to have standard sizes of watches so that these factories could build these watch cases for everybody, not have to retool every time a different company ordered cases.
Yeah.
But if you take one, like an Elgin pocket watch 16 size out of its original case, you could put it in a Waltham 16 size case. But there are little marks in the back that show where the mounting screws were on the Waltham, and you can see that, and it's a recased watch. So in its original case, it may be a $300 watch. Recased, it's a $150 watch.
Yeah.
And that's why all original will always be worth more money, because it's way more
Right.
rare. Well, Adam, I'll cut you a really good deal.
I was like, yeah, that's a nice watch. I want a really nice watch. I want to eventually I want a nice watch.
Yeah. Um,
But I don't know, $4,000.
yeah. Well, that's what I have it listed at, but
Yeah.
the realistic price on this watch is somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500.
Yeah.
But if I price it at that, I've
Right,
got
you're
no
not going to
room to
get
come
that.
down to negotiate to make
Right.
it sell. And everybody who buys Rolex watches,
50
Adam,
bucks.
Adam, don't make me hurt you.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to take 50 bucks, dear.
No. Which one of the hands do you want off that watch?
Yeah, you can get one hand for $50.
Actually, it probably costs more than that to replace one of those hands with a
Oh, I
genuine.
bet. I
Yeah,
bet.
it's one of the. That's another thing about Rolex. Another reason that the all original stuff is so expensive is because Rolex stopped supplying parts 20 years ago. It is
Oh.
very, very, very difficult to find new old stock and new stock original parts and pieces for Rolexes because Rolex no longer releases them.
Oh.
It's that very, very, very few people have a spare parts account anymore. You have to have a $2 to $3 million setup and be an authorized dealer with a couple $1 million worth of their watches in inventory before you can get a spare parts
Wow.
account. So you're going to spend $5 to $7 million just to get an account.
That's
And
crazy.
even if you spend all that money, they can come to your location, look at it, and say, "Nope, we don't like it. You're not getting them."
Wow.
So it's difficult. And some of those guys, if you're close enough to them, you've built up a relationship with them over the years. You can occasionally talk one of them into supplying you with a part, but it's not easy.
Hmm.
Hey, Brett, how are you? Hey, Marie.
Hello, Marie.
Oh no, there will never be a Junk Monkey Rolex store. Uh, Rolex, when I first started, geez, 24 years ago now, Rolex was still being run and operated by the guys who came up under Mr. Rolex, or that wasn't his real name, but that's what everybody called him. And back in those days, those guys were 100% customer service oriented. They wanted you to have their watch and they took care of you for the rest of your life concerning your watch. Now, it wasn't free, but it was easy. Nowadays, it's not so easy. And it
Yeah.
is, yeah, they would much rather sell you a new watch
Oh, I'm sure.
than repair your old watch.
Yeah.
And it's crazy these days. During the pandemic, there was a supply problem with the supply chain getting watches to authorized dealers. And so they started this waiting list. Officially, the waiting list does not exist, but apparently it's 2 years to get any watch that you want. However, if you buy, this $500,000 diamond choker over here, we'll see about bumping you up on the list.
Of course.
That's absolutely happening, and it's absolutely. I hate to say it's official, but yeah, it's official.
Yeah.
They took advantage of a bad situation to use. In order to buy a Rolex, you can't just walk in and buy a Rolex anymore, not a new one. You have to go in and buy a bunch of other stuff, and then they might think about selling your Rolex. That's terrible. I honestly, I couldn't bring myself to do that to people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody fixes anything anymore.
Yeah, really. I don't think I mean, I remember when I was like growing up in the 80s seeing like TV repair
Yeah.
shops like all over the place, but
Vacuum
yeah.
repair shops, sewing
Yeah.
machine repair shops.
Yeah.
There was at least one shoe repair shop in almost every town.
Yep.
Go find a decent cobbler if
Yeah,
you can
there's
find one.
yeah, there's one kind of near us that I know is like pretty reputable, but like
Right.
that's it. Like you can't find.
And there's also a problem. Like with me with the watches, parts are getting very very difficult to find. The chemicals that I use to clean a watch, just for me to fill the cleaning cups with two different cleaning chemicals. One is a cleaning chemical, the other one is a rinse.
Hmm.
It costs me $35 every time I fill those cups up,
Oh
and
gosh.
I can only clean 6 watches on average in that set of chemicals.
That's crazy.
One tiny little bottle. I don't know if I've got it, but let's see if I got one here. I'll show you something.
All right.
Uh, I thought I had a bottle of my watch oil here. All right. This is a watch oiler, one type of one. It's a tiny little thing, about half the size of a.
Oh, it looks like a fountain pen.
It does. It's very much like a fountain pen.
Mm-hmm.
But the little reservoir is right down here on the end of it, and there's a tiny, tiny little needle. And the little circle spot right here,
Mm-hmm.
you pull that back and bring it down, and it brings one microscopic drop of oil down.
Oh wow.
That little drop of oil in that tube is probably about $50.
What?
Yeah,
That's wild. What is like? Where do they get the oil? Like, is it
it's
synthetic or like?
synthetic these days. However, not too many years ago, in the 60s, you could get a bottle of oil, watch oil, like this, for probably about $3.
Wow.
And this is a new old stock bottle. And this is Nye watch oil,
Oh wow.
new old
That,
stock. And that
that's
oil
pretty
is still
cool.
good to this day. I could actually use it to lubricate
And
a watch.
when would that like when was that from? Like what?
This bottle was probably from the late 50s.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I have some that are older. I have some that date back to the early 1900s. And this is the part that makes people melt down
Oh no.
these days. Can you see that?
Kind of. Is it whales?
That's whales and porpoises on a beach
Uh,
being butchered to make watch oil.
I was gonna say, is that where it's from? That's wild.
The jawbones of the dolphins made the finest oil for watches.
That's crazy.
And it was not until the late 70s, early 80s that when they first started making synthetic oils good enough to oil a watch that they stopped
Wow.
doing that.
Looks like rum. A small airplane bottle of rum.
But yeah, and those cleaning supplies I was telling you about, I buy them by the gallon, and by the time I pay the hazardous material ground shipping, I pay about $75 per gallon, and I have to order 2 gallons at a time. So and the cobblers, like the shoe repair, it got down to where there was one reputable maker of the uh, shoe sole leather, and they
Mm.
shut down last year. Now, luckily, another company bought them, and they're continuing to make that shoe leather, but it's not cheap. In order to get a pair of shoes resold by a good cobbler these days,
Mm-hmm.
it's $300 or $400.
Wow.
Just to get like the wedge sole on the bottom of a pair of
Mm-hmm.
Red Wing work boots, it's like $100.
Yeah.
For 200, you could go buy a brand new pair.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where it costs so much to do business, to work on watches, to rebuild shoes, that it's become cost prohibitive. And the only way you can survive doing it is to find the people like my customers that have the older Rolexes that Rolex is no longer making parts for, or they have the old pocket watches and nobody works on them except somebody like me. And when I'm gone, there's not going to be too many people left. I mean, the old watchmakers, they're all gone. Very few old watchmakers left. Yeah, Tina, exactly. It's another lost art. Now, there are some people out there doing shoe repair that should be doing lawn repair. They should be mowing grass and digging ditches. They shouldn't be messing with nice shoes.
Actually, mowing grass is difficult.
Yeah.
So some we used to do it, and when Adam taught me how to use the Z-turn. He's like, you have to go in this certain pattern because we're like in these rich neighborhoods, and he's like, you can't do that. You can't go over. You have to go this way, then that way. And I'm like,
if that lawn isn't striped when you're done, you didn't do it right.
Yep.
But it's lost my train of thought.
I still never got like the pattern down 100%.
Yeah, I can do a couple of different patterns with a push mower.
Yeah.
But it's the last time I had a pair of shoes repaired was the first really nice pair of shoes I ever owned. It was a pair of cowboy boots, and they were kangaroo hide. And when I wore them, it felt like I had house slippers on. They were very, very expensive.
Wow.
And so I took them to a local guy to have them resold, and he literally destroyed my boots.
Oh my God. I'd be so upset.
I was, but the thing is, he was very elderly. He was diabetic. He'd already had one of his feet cut off due to the diabetes.
Oh gosh.
Just terrible shape. I just gritted my teeth. I paid the man, and I went home and I threw my boots away.
Oh.
So the craftsmen of any type are hard to find anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have real industries in them anymore. So if you don't have an industry making things, the industry to repair those things start to fail. So Mark is sending Adam something.
Yeah, they were doing some bartering.
Little horse trading.
Yes, they're bartering. I heard them bartering on the phone earlier.
In the house tonight. How are you tonight, buddy?
Hi, Gulf Coast Pickers.
20 bricks. Dickering. Yes. That's what they called it in the Northeast.
Yes, that's what they were doing earlier. Adam will be excited. Hopefully it'll be here by the weekend. It's only Wednesday. It should be.
Yeah, Brett, that right to repair, that is a big thing. Tractor companies with farmers, they have all modern tractors for big farms.
Mm-hmm.
They're operated via computer.
Oh.
And they're basically holding these farmers hostage. They make it to where you cannot repair your own tractor. You can't get parts for it. You can't reprogram the computer. Something goes wrong with the computer, they have to hook up to it via satellite or a landline and reprogram it and update it and all this. And it's, by God, expensive. And it's things, and a lot of these programs they're saying or finding out or accusing them of putting obsolescence programming into it, where the programming only lasts so long and then it crashes on purpose, which forces you to shut your farm down.
That's wild.
Come up with the money to update the computer.
That's awful.
And Rolex no longer supplies parts for anybody to work on their watches. Omega still does, but you can't get it directly from Omega. You have to go through a parts house who, a part that 10 years ago or 15 now that I could call Omega direct and get that part for $12.95. in order for me to buy it, I now have to go through a parts house, and if it's a rare part, I have to wait months for
Oh,
them
I'm
to get.
sure. I'm sure.
And then instead of being $12.95, it's $89.99,
Yeah.
and the watch may only be worth $100. So my customers are like, "No, the hell with it, and I'll just
Yeah.
buy a new watch."
Right.
Yeah, those poor farmers with that right to repair thing, it is terrible. They have even gone to, if you see modern tractors, they have curved glass on them now.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they have curved glass on them now is because one of the most easily damaged parts on a tractor that's out working is the glass, the windshield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when the factory original glass windshield would break, farmers or loggers or whoever was working on this piece of equipment would just go to the local hardware store, get them a piece of plexiglass, cut it to fit, put it in, good to go. Well, now you have a curved glass sitting in a curved frame. You can no longer do that.
Yeah.
In order to get the windshield replaced on your tractor, it's a dealer repair only. You have to load this piece of equipment up, which some of these combines, in order to get it to the dealer, you have to take it apart.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it's
Yeah.
trucked in on 3 or 4 flatbeds and then assembled on site. And then to get it to a dealer to repair it, you have to take it all apart, send a big truck out, and pay a driver to come get this thing and take it to the dealer. And then, your farm is shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, it's a big deal. It really is. And here's a little thing that people don't know is all of this started in 1924. It goes back that far with manufacturers. In fact, the term planned obsolescence was
Yeah.
created by this group of people, and you'll never believe who it is.
I've heard this before. We learned about. I remember the planned obsolescence lessons in school, but I don't
Right?
remember.
Light bulb companies.
Oh.
The world's leading light bulb companies got together and they said these things are lasting too long. And we keep producing better and better light bulbs. Eventually, nobody's ever going to need a replacement light bulb. We're going to go out of business.
Yeah.
In fact, if you made a light bulb too good, the rest of the manufacturer, you could actually be fined for making too good of a light bulb.
That's crazy. I
It
do
is.
remember. I do remember this now.
Yeah, it was the light bulb makers who came up with this whole planned obsolescence thing, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
There, somewhere online, talking about the light bulb people, somewhere online there is a live streaming camera pointed at an Edison light bulb that's over 100 years old,
Really?
and it's in a firehouse, like a fire department's old firehouse somewhere, like in New York or something. This light bulb has been in constant use for over 100 years.
Wow. Oh, Gulf Coast is saying something. Yeah, since
Yeah,
1940. Really? Is it on YouTube?
I'm sure it is. It's somewhere. It just,
I need to look this up.
yeah, search it. I bet you that there's I'm betting they've got a link to it on YouTube somewhere.
Longest
Pleasanton, California,
burning.
they're saying. Adam says he knows where it's at.
Really?
He used to live near it.
Oh, 116 years? Wow. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a live video of it. How There's a live video of a light bulb burning. Yeah, like Mark said, just watches it all night,
Yeah.
all night and day. That's
That old light bulb
crazy.
was probably made by hand.
Oh
But
yeah,
I think they had to go into the electrical wiring that powers that light bulb, and they had to reduce the current that flows through it
yeah,
to keep it going, because they didn't have constant 110 AC or 115, 120, whatever it's called. That old light bulb couldn't handle it, so they had to go in and do
yeah.
something to drop the voltage. And
What's gonna happen when it burns out? Is it ever gonna burn out?
who knows?
It's gonna
And
be a
speaking of
sad day.
that light bulb got me in trouble in high school.
It did.
Well, Thomas Edison did. Somebody told my science teacher was also my Sunday school teacher, Mrs. Wilson. Somebody went and ratted me out to her for cussing. I said a cuss word or something. I think I was a sophomore, and she was kind of disappointed in me, and I was kind of irritated because somebody ratted me out. And she just looked at me and she said, "You know, any idiot can cuss." Well, I fired right back and said, "So could any genius."
Ooh.
Yeah, she was kind of taken aback. She couldn't believe I'd spoken back to her. I mean, she'd known me all those years and I'd never done it before. But she's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Thomas Alva Edison tried over 2,000 times to make a damn light bulb that would work. You going to tell me that 2,000 times he flipped that switch and it didn't work? He never once cussed?"
That's
So
funny.
I got sent to the principal's office on that one.
Did you get detention?
No, no. No, the principal thought it was kind of funny. I could tell he was all he could do to keep from laughing at me. But no, I spent the rest of that class period sitting outside his office, and then went on to my next class.
Nice.
Yeah, Adam, you're probably right. They'll probably have some big funeral whoop de doo.
Yeah, I guess it was on Inside Edition. There was a story about it. 3.1 million views. That's how many people care about the light bulb.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there is a website where you can watch it, I think someone said. So, there you go. If anyone
Yeah, Adam,
needs
that's
some.
kind of strange. There's a channel out there that's got a light bulb. That's all it is, just a light bulb. That light bulb channel has more viewers than most of us put together.
Yeah, I was looking to see. If there's like a website. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I could find it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I know so much trivia. I go down rabbit holes and see how
Yeah,
it connects one
you do
thing to
know a
the
lot
other.
of trivia.
It's
Yeah, you do know a lot of trivia. For sure. I'm really curious now if there really is a live stream on like the
I'm pretty
video.
sure there is. There's live streams of eagles' nests out there too
Oh
that
yeah,
people.
here it is. It's the bulb cam.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
it.
there it is. Yep, centennialbulb.org. Bulb cam. It's riveting, let me tell you.
Action packed.
Yes. Action the bulb cam. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I did used to watch kitten live streams. It's called like the Kitty Cat Playroom, and it's just kittens playing around, and it's a live stream like all the time.
Ooh. I was in a live stream a couple of weeks ago. It has nothing to do with reselling. It's this guy online. He hunts coin rolls, looking for wheat pennies and buffalo nickels, and he
Mm-hmm.
has a pretty big following. And he does a couple of lives every week, going through these boxes, and people can buy things from him. He has auctions, and you can enter contests to win the coins that he's finding. And
Oh.
right in the
Huh.
middle of this live stream, one of the people in the chat come in and said he just watched his pit bull and his Rottweiler kill his Chihuahua. I know everybody was like that. It's like it's all but shut the whole show down. It's like, why would you do that?
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
terrible.
I know if somebody, I can't imagine how. And that guy's name is Rob too. That other channel, it's Rob Finds Treasures. He's
Mm-hmm.
kind of fun for me. He's one of the. I can't watch reseller content all the time.
Right.
So I like finding things like that. Right now, what I'm watching is this woman. She bought a bunch of slip molds for ceramics.
Mm-hmm.
She has no idea what they are until she makes something with one of them.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. She just pulls a couple of them off the shelf, that she bought like hundreds of these things. She'll pull one off the shelf, fill it full of ceramic mix, and wait the appropriate amount of time and open it to see what kind of mold it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something for me to watch that's not reseller content. But
That's interesting though to see what it's gonna be.
yeah. But Rob finds treasures. He's a coin guy, and I've been a coin collector all my life, and it's kind of fun watching him go through the coins. And he's making a collection out of coins that he just found rolled up in penny rolls or nickel rolls. But yeah, that thing where some guy come on there and talked about his two dogs killing the little dog. I'm like,
That's
man,
crazy.
Japanese vending machines.
I love Japanese vending machines.
I've got to check that out. It's
Oh gosh, it's like they get hamburgers out of there and they're hot. They get ramen noodles out of there. They get like soup in a can. It's like, but it comes out hot, but it looks like it's in a soda can.
cool.
What else do they get out of it? And they love sleeping in those little compartment hotels. Those little like
Oh yeah, the little hotel
hotels.
pods. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
some of those.
Oh gosh, I want to stay in one of those. Adam's
kinda
like,
do
I don't want
too.
anything to do with them. They have like in Japan, they have so much like. I feel like because you're staying in like a pod, they have so many other like amenities to make up for the fact that you don't have a huge hotel room. Because
Right.
there's like free alcohol and free food and free dinner, free breakfast. There's like all kinds of soaps and all kinds of stuff, robes, everything. So it's, I don't know. It looks interesting, but Adam's like, I'm too long. I'm too tall. I won't fit in one of those. My feet will be hanging out. And some of them they don't like lock either. It's just like a curtain. So.
Yeah, well, they don't have the kind of problems we have. But here's one thing: if you ever go to Japan, you need to study on what not to do while you're there,
Oh, I'm sure.
because their
I'm sure.
police are not a joke, and they will bust a foreigner fast.
Oh god,
I-
that always scares me. Do you ever see that show Locked Up Abroad or whatever?
Yeah.
And then you can't ever go home or whatever. You're like locked up overseas.
Yeah.
Oh god, that would be awful.
When I was in the Navy, we left people locked up.
That's terrible.
You know,
Oh my
they go
God.
out on a town and they get into some trouble. They get locked up. We discharge them and leave them there.
That's crazy.
And for instance, in Italy, there were 2 or 3 guys that got into some trouble, and there's nothing we can do. Their legal system is their legal system, and you get found guilty, you're going to jail. You're going to jail over there, and that's conduct unbecoming. You're discharged. See you later. Let us know when you get out, and we'll try to help you get home.
Wow.
But in Italian prisons, the prison doesn't feed you.
Oh my God.
Your family feeds you. Well, you're a service member. You have no family over there.
Right.
Yeah, so getting your meals is not very easy.
Oh my
We
God.
were in Palermo, Italy. It's in Sicily. We were the first United States Navy ship to put in there since almost right after World War II. And Palermo is a fairly rough place. And when we pulled in, they sent people out. They told us, there's certain parts of town you're not supposed to go to. And we were told
Yeah.
these areas are off limits. Well, I had been stationed in Italy for 3 years before I'd gotten to this ship. And I spoke a little bit of Italian, enough to get by. So they put me on shore patrol, and we went out and we got arrested as soon as we stepped off the docks because we had our billy sticks with us. We wasn't really arrested. They got us all together and took us back to the ship. We had to get rid of our billy sticks, and then we could only ride around with them. Well, a call comes in. Apparently some of our guys were in a spot. They went to a neighborhood they weren't supposed to go to. And while they were there, they got in a fight with some locals. So we show up, and there's cops everywhere, carabinieri. The carabinieri are the Italian state police. Those guys ain't no joke. But
Yikes.
I'm trying to interpret. They're talking rapid fire Italian, and it's
Oh God.
Palermo style Italian. I learned Sardinian style Italian, and I'm confused. All I know is I had to get those guys out of there. I mean, they're sitting on the
Yeah.
ground. They're bleeding. They're beat to hell. And we had our own shore patrol car. And I told the cops, look, let me get them in the car. We'll follow you to the police station. So we did. We got those two guys. I think it was two guys, two or three guys. We got them in the back seat of the car, and I had one other shore patrol with me, and we start going downhill, which everything downhill leads to the water on an island.
Mm-hmm.
We got to a spot where I could see the port. The cops made a left to go to the station. I made a right, put my foot through the carburetor, and took them guys back to the ship, and myself and the other shore patrol too.
Wow.
Otherwise, those guys would probably still, well, I don't know. That's been 27 years ago now. But those guys would have spent a long time in prison.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, that's so yeah. There's Japan is another place where there are a lot of service members that went to jail.
Yeah.
Okinawa and a couple other bases we had over there. If you were a service member and you got in trouble out on town, you went to jail and you got discharged and you just got left in jail.
Yikes.
And Japan has some pretty strange laws
Yeah.
that you wouldn't think twice of doing some of the things that are against their laws, and they will arrest you for it.
Oh gosh.
So it's a very nice place to be. If you go and you get a guide or you got somebody, if you just be very respectful and very
yeah, and it's so clean there.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
don't
clean.
drop a gum wrapper.
Oh God, I can imagine.
Yeah,
it's just watching all the videos of it, it's like amazing how clean it is.
It is. But if you ever go to Japan, that's one of the things you need to look up is what not to do as a tourist in Japan.
Probably smart idea.
I really want to go to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
The window for going to Hong Kong for the reasons that I want to go is quickly closing. You know, Hong Kong was under British control for a very long time, and their 100-year lease ran out quite a few years ago. And mainland China owns Hong Kong. And there was a lot of upheaval in that part of the world over China taking back over, because these people had lived like Americans for, decades upon decades upon decades. They had free markets and everything. Now China's taken back over. They're communist, and it's pretty rough. I think they reached some kind of agreement where they can continue to be Hong Kong, but they belong to China. So it's probably one of those things where little bit by little bit they're going to reabsorb Hong Kong, and it'll be another Chinese city. But Hong Kong is world famous in the watch collecting world. You can go there and buy used Rolexes all day for a third to half or less of what they cost here.
Wow.
So you can go over there and spend $500,000, get on a plane, fly home, and in a very short order of time, turn your $500,000 into $1 million. Not that I got that kind of money to play with, but I wouldn't mind going and seeing if I couldn't pick up, a few watches.
Yeah. The toilet, they have music in there because it's for privacy.
Yeah, they don't want the toilet noises coming out of there.
Yep, they have a little musical button and you push it and it plays music. That's right.
Oh,
That's
well,
funny.
It is going on 8:00. I've been sitting here babbling on for an hour and a half. You didn't hardly get a word in edgewise after we stopped
all
talking
right.
about caddies.
I got a bunch of education.
Yeah, wow. It's trivia. I don't know what you can do with it, but yeah. So, guys, if you came in late, scroll up the chat, because early in the show we dropped Sarah's Instagram page, The Daily Cabbage. In fact, Let's go ahead and drop it again so people don't have to do all that scrolling.
Thanks.
There it is.
If you want to see pictures of Cabbage Patch Kids all day, every day, that's where you need to go.
Yeah. But Sarah is my number one resource. When I find a caddy out in the wild, I send her a message. She always gets back to me quickly to let me know if what I found is worthwhile.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's not. But every once in a while,
Yeah, that you found a good
I
one.
find a decent one, and she lets me know what to do about
Yeah,
it.
that one's good. I love her outfit. She's good
All
for
right.
sure.
Hang around for just a second.
All
All
right.
right, guys. Good night to everybody. We'll see you next
See
week.
ya.
And we'll see what I can come up to babble with next week. Y'all have a good one.
See ya.